Every Spider-Man ever. Amazing Spider-Man issue 25. Things are actually going well for Peter Parker. He's tutoring Liz Allen, he's sewing a spare costume, and he's captured some pictures of Spider-Man stopping a crime using only his signal light to attract the attention of the police. But his fortune changes when a scientist called Smythe comes into the Bugle with a robot. He says that it's guaranteed to defeat Spider-Man. Jonah initially rejects it, and ironically it's Peter Parker who convinces him to try it. After all, it's just a goofy looking robot. Turns out that the steel cables from that goofy looking robot are impossible to break out of, even with spider strength. And now Betty hates Peter too for wishing death on Spidey. As if things couldn't get any worse, Flash Thompson sees Pete with Liz and threatens to beat him up after class. That good luck really didn't last long. With his face and voice projected onto the robot, J.Jonah Jameson pilots the Spider Slayer and sets it off to detect any spiders in the local area. It finds Peter at school, and Peter makes a quick escape out the back. But Flash and friends thinks he's escaping from them and give chase, forcing Peter to climb up onto a rooftop to make his change into his alter ego. Every attack that Spider-Man tries against the robot fails. Liquid webbing falls off its oily body. Webbing just slides off too. The only thing Spidey can do now is run. At the Daily Bugle, Betty tries to save the hero, but her attempt to pull the plug on the controller is spotted by Jonah, and he throws her out. She decides to get Peter to help, since he was the one that suggested Jonah do this in the first place, and she heads to his house. Also heading to Peter's house is Flash and Liz. Flash wants to beat Pete up. Liz wants to stop that. The two groups meet, and Betty and Liz knock to find that Peter isn't home, but someone else is. Mary Jane Watson, that nice young girl that May wanted Peter to meet. We don't get to see her face, it's hidden by a flower, but both Betty and Liz thinks that she's movie star beautiful, and they both go their separate ways. Elsewhere, Spidey realizes that he can't just keep running, and he's quickly tangled in steel cables. He is trapped and at the mercy of this Spider Slayer. But since they can't risk transporting him, Jonah and Smythe have to leave the controls alone to unmask Spidey in person. Spider-Man has to do something before they arrive. Using his sticky fingers, he pries a panel loose. Now he just needs to use science to free himself. Jonah and Smythe arrive on the scene to find Spider-Man still struggling against the robot. Jonah pulls off Spidey's mask and finds nothing. The suit is empty, being puppeted by Peter Parker in the roof above. With his foes looking foolish and Flash moved on by the police, Peter arrives home to find Aunt May waiting for him. She's holding the spare Spider-Man costume that he sewed and asking for an explanation. Peter tells her that it was just a disguise to fool some friends. Look, he hasn't even worn it. May buys this but confiscates the costume, and Peter sighs. If she ever found out that he was Spider-Man, the shock would be fatal. Unfortunately, with Jonah having one of his costumes and May having his other one, he can't be Spider-Man until he finds some new threads.